Oh my goodness, that was a global sing-along. I heard you from here. We all need a little bit of John Denver every now and again. Welcome everybody to our Sunday gathering number 170. 170. Yes, that's right. And I know there's been people that have been with us along since the beginning. Some we picked up midstream. Doesn't matter. This is your first time at the Sunday gathering or you've been here all along. I'm Sandra Champlain, and each week we try to inspire you, bring the worlds together. Not that we have to, because our loved ones in the spirit world are all around us, but let you know that you are special, you are one of a kind, your life matters, and you are loved. You're loved by us, and you're loved by that little crowd of invisible folks hanging out at your side today. Today, I am joined with my wonderful friends. I've got Shirley and Sharp, yay, in the house, Tim Southwell, yay, and Darren Wynn, yay. And our friends Carrie and Phil have been traveling the last 6 weeks. They are home, but I think they're maybe need a day off before jumping right on in on the Sunday gathering. You will see them next Sunday. Carrie has picked the music in our order of service. We have Darren, who will be doing our opening and closing prayers and the reading today. Tim will be doing the address. Shirley Ann will be doing the mediumship. You've got me for all the behind the scene things with a few words for the week at the end. And also I will lead you into our healing segment. Our theme that Carrie picked is home, just what John Denver was singing about. And home means different things to different people. We're going to let you consider what home means for you. So I'd like to turn it over to Darren for the opening prayer, please.
Thank you for the introduction, Sandra, and a massive welcome to each and every one of you. And thank you for joining us on this 170th Sunday gathering. So if you'd all like to close your eyes and join me for today's opening prayer. To our dear friends, helpers and loved ones of that world we call unseen, we unite here together today as friends, brothers and sisters from around our globe. We unite here together in love, peace and harmony under that banner of We Don't Die. Each and every one of us comes together here today united as one to be of service in any way we can, with the same goal and intent within our hearts and our minds, to bring the two worlds together as one again. Each and every one of us comes from within different countries within our lands. We speak different languages and have different dialects, and we come together from different backgrounds and different understandings. But today we unite together in the name of love, for the love and joy of uniting the two worlds together as one once again. As we enter into this experience, we cast aside our own wants, our own needs and our own desires, so we can come together and truly be good for all of mankind. And as we enter into this gathering, we enter with no demands and no expectations, but allow our workers to be free and share the words and thoughts of all those in the world we call unseen, which brings us those moments of joy, happiness and upliftment, and allows us to immerse ourselves within that healing balm and that unconditional love. Each and every one of us finds it a joy and a privilege to walk hand in hand, side by side, sharing the words and thoughts from your world. And each and every one of us does to the best of our abilities and our understandings. And we truly hope we can make you proud here today. As we enter into this Sunday gathering and the theme of home, uniting here together as one and being in your company once more truly feels like home, and home is truly where the heart is. Each and every one of us comes here together with smiles upon our faces and positivity within our minds, and we offer you love in abundance so we can truly create the perfect meeting ground in which the two worlds can come together again. And we ask as always that that healing light continues to shine to all four corners of our world, bringing the peace and the love to all those hearts and minds that may be in need at this time. So without further ado, my friends, we welcome you here today. Amen. Okay, I'm going to go into the reading now. I've got two little readings for you, as always. The first one is called The House with the Golden Windows. The little girl lived in a small, very simple, poor house on a hill, and as she grew, she would play in a small garden and as she grew, she was able to see over the garden fence and across the valley to a wonderful house high on the hill. And this house had golden windows, so golden and shining that the little girl would dream of how magic it would be to grow up and live in a house with golden windows instead of an ordinary house like hers. And although she loved her parents and her family, she yearned to live in such a golden house and dreamed all day about how wonderful and exciting it must feel to live in there. When she got to an age where she gained enough skill and sensibility to go outside her garden fence, she asked her mother if she could go for a bike ride outside the gate and down the lane. After pleading with her, her mother finally allowed her to go, insisting she kept close to the house and didn't wander too far. The day was beautiful, and the little girl knew exactly where she was heading. Down the lane and across the valley, she rode her bike until she got to the gate of the golden house across on the other hill. As she dismounted her bike and leant it against a gatepost, she focused on the path that led to the house and then on the house itself, and was so disappointed as she realized all the windows were plain and rather dirty, reflecting nothing other than sad neglect of the house that stood derelict. So sad she didn't go any further and turned, heartbroken as she remounted her bike. As she glanced up, she saw a sight to amaze her. There, across the way on the other side of the valley, was a little house, and its windows glistened golden as the sun shone on her little home. She realized that she had been living in her golden house, and all the love and care she found there was what made her home the golden house. Everything she dreamed was right in front of her nose. An elderly carpenter was ready to retire. He told his employer and contractor of his plans to leave the house building business and live a more leisurely life, with his wife enjoying his extended family. He would miss the paycheck, but he needed to retire. They could get by. The contractor was sorry to see his good worker go and asked if he could just build one more house as a personal favor. The carpenter said yes, but in time it was easy to see that his heart was not in his work. He resorted to shoddy workmanship and used inferior materials. It was an unfortunate way to end his career. When the carpenter finished his work and the builder came to inspect the house, the contractor handed the front door key to the carpenter. "This is your house," he said. "My gift to you." What a shock. What a shame. If he had only known he was building his own house, he would have done it all so differently. Now he had to live in the home he had built none too well. So it is with us. We build our lives in a distracted way, reacting rather than acting, willing to put up less than the best. At important points, we do not give the job our best effort. Then with a shock, we look at the situation we have created and find that we are now living in the house we have built. If we had realized, we would have done it differently. Think of yourself as the carpenter. Think about your house. Each day you hammer a nail, place a board, or erect a wall. Build wisely. It is the only life you will ever build. Even if you live it for one day more, that day deserves to be lived graciously and with dignity. The plaque on the wall says, "Life is a do-it-yourself project." Who could say it more clearly? Your life today is the result of your attitudes and choices in the past. Your life tomorrow will be the result of your attitudes and the choices you make today. Thank you for listening to me, and I'll hand you back to Sandra.
Thank you so much, Darren. I don't know how you do it, but you get the greatest readings. My Google skills aren't as good as yours. Well, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going into our healing section now. And I know that there are members of our community that are suffering greatly with grief and other reasons. We have people in our life that may not be well, yourself included. I know if we've watched the news this past week or we know what's going on, there's a lot of grief being felt. There's a lot of fear. I just had this idea for our healing segment. What if we, when we close our eyes, We just imagine all of us on our Sunday gathering today, like we're lights all over this globe, that we are holding hands in like the biggest circle that you can imagine around planet Earth. And as planet Earth spins, we just send our healing love. And if you don't know how to do it, just feel love. Think of somebody or something that you love and just sit in that loving presence. Will you do that for me? As soon as the song ends, we are going to hand it right over to Tim for our address. So let's join each other hand in hand, send some love, send some healing, because it is needed.
Oh, what a beautiful song. What a moving moment there for sure. And thank you for the healing as well. There's absolutely always safety in numbers, and there's always strength in numbers as well. So combining our light and our energy together is an amazing thing. And then Darren, I always love the readings, and the two of the readings make you think for sure. So thank you very much for inviting me to be back. That's hopefully a good sign when you're invited to be back again. Um, and I looked at the topic of home, and it seems straightforward at first. It's actually, it has so many facets, you kind of don't know where to start. But I did. And I start with Emily Dickinson, and she says, "Where thou art, that is home." It's sort of a way of saying wherever you go, that's where you are, I think, if we kind of break it down that way. Home home is where we feel comfortable. Home is where we feel relaxed. Home is where many things happen with family and friends. It's it's an all-encompassing expression. And the one thing I really tried to avoid was home is where the heart is. But I guess I couldn't avoid home is where the heart is, because there it is. I just said it. Um, with with the heart, though, that tells me something else. Our home, when we are happy and we've cleaned it, we invite people in. We invite our friends. We invite our family. We have furry little ones running around, and I mean pets, not children. And it's very warm. It's very welcoming, and it's open doors to our home. We open ourselves. We make ourselves maybe even a little bit vulnerable to do something like that. But also, if home is where the heart is, we're not just opening those doors. We're opening our heart. We're opening our heart to people we know, people we've grown up with, maybe people we've just met. But we're opening our home. We're opening our heart. And I have to be honest that I constantly work at opening my heart. I don't find it an easy thing to do. Maybe we're sort of hardwired to do that naturally to a degree, but then you want to give more, hopefully. You want to be open more. You want to be able to take more people into your life at different levels, different capacities. But how do you do that? When you reach that limit, sometimes we feel tired, sometimes we feel overworked. Our home is at capacity in many ways. How do we open our heart when it gets a bit difficult to do? So oddly enough, as I go driving, I often kind of send thoughts out there. Just what is the solution? And of course, I'll be listening to music. I love music, and more, I'm getting my answers through songs. And so, as I was pondering that thought, how could I open my heart just a bit more? How could I, increase not just my home, but the home who's inside, the home that's inside? It's like the Om, the I am of home is me. How can I open that up? And I listened to Frank Sinatra channel. I don't know if that's an admission or what it is. I love the orchestrations from way back when. But there was Tony Bennett, silk-voiced Tony Bennett, and he broke into what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's an old classic. It comes around again and again. Its message is always true. Its message is always there for us. And like, how more obvious could it have been made for me? How do you open your heart? Well, the answer to that is love. Okay, so then we've dug a little bit deeper. We've gone down that extra level to love. And absolutely, love we discover throughout our lives love of family again, love of partner, love of siblings, love of friends. If you struggle with that, though, at times, and we can have external things influence that, but some people, and I would put myself in that situation, have trouble defining, dealing with, expanding love. How can I look at a situation and just say that, yeah, I want to be able to love more. I want to be able to do that. Maybe if I want to do readings better, I want to be able to do that. Well, there's a big difference between, and a big journey between want and achieve, and even desire. If you go back, it's a bit of schooling that we often have to take into ourselves. It does rely on us to do that. So we want to expand our home. We want to expand our heart. We want to expand how we love. How on earth do you do that? Well, I turn for a moment to a Japanese poet. He was actually a master of haiku. I love haikus as well. And this will not be in Japanese. We're not going to go there. But he was a master in the 1600s, I believe. And he said, every day is a journey, and the journey itself is home. So you could interpret that a number of different ways. I'm going to interpret it a certain specific way, and definitely about the journey, because every day pretty much seems like a journey at times, doesn't it? But that journey that we take, the choices that we make along the way, what comes from outside of us and influences some of those decisions, those are all part of the journey. And those are things we take in. Those are things that affect us. Those are things that go into the heart, and it becomes part of our home. That's how I'm interpreting that statement. Every day is a journey, and the journey itself is home. So hopefully, if I've had anything that's happened during the day, good or bad, I will take that in and reflect on it, and I probably would be home in the four walls or whatever we have and call as our home. I would take that in and contemplate what it is that's happened in the journey to do that. Okay, so I wanted to know a little bit more about love. How can I expand that? How can I make that stronger in myself? Especially on days aren't, when things aren't going well, when they're, you read, I stay away from news, but if you're, reading some of the news, you can get dragged down by that. Day-to-day events can drag you down as well. So I want to be able to look at a stranger and be able to feel that feeling inside, like they are another human being, they are another soul. And I do feel love for another soul. I want to be able to reach that. Okay, so I go a little bit deeper. And one of the songs that appealed to me during the week comes from the movie The Wiz, called Home. And it's a beautiful song, and I would absolutely suggest listening to it, unless you want me to sing right now. But no, you don't. Hopefully not. I'm going to touch upon some of the lyrics and use some of the wording from that. And I am going to draw some from my own experience for that. So the song opens, when I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. Maybe you can hear the tune if you notice. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. So that's a great opening. And that made me think of, when was it that I was really craving home? Where was it that I was craving that feeling of love? And at that time, what popped into my mind was the first time I was away from home, moved away from home. That would have been university. And that was quite an experience. And although you may have shared the same experience, I'd like you to kind of think of that too. When was it that you were first away from home, that sort of separation, that you remember that angst, that feeling, I want to be back home again. I want to experience that sort of comfort, that love. So for me, that was the situation. And going into university, I had just broken up with a girlfriend. I had, and her friends were my friends, and that was a bit of a mix. And we, of course, were all going to the same university and also pretty much the same program. So there was that wishing I was kind of home, not just homesick, but kind of thinking, I wish I wish I could have things kind of easy to start with. And in that first year, things were not easy to start with because I realized the program I was going to go into, giving away some evidence to a degree, was in the sciences. And things worked out okay, but not stellar. And by Christmas, I knew things had to change. And I knew I had to make some changes in myself. I was craving home again, and it was getting sort of worse. So I'm going to hop back to the song again. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back. Now that I have some direction, it sure would be nice to be back at home where there's love and affection. That was my Christmas mantra. I was wishing I didn't need to go back to university. I wished I was home again. I wish I could stay there. I had some direction and it wasn't science. But at home, I did get some good advice from my parents, which, you know, that's always pleasant when it happens. It doesn't always happen, but it is pleasant when it happens. And that really set me in a new direction. And going back to the song, suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, and I still know where I'm going. I've had my mind spun around in space, yet I did watch it growing. And I'll go back to that verse in just a little bit again, because I'm going to jump rails here for just a little bit, our little train rails. I have a mind that sometimes does that. It goes on tangents. So that was my life back then. That was looking at making a major change, wishing I could be home, feeling the support of love that was there, absolutely. But oddly enough, in these recent years, I'm looking at myself again, re-examining, as I'm sure we all do. And there's that big chunk of spiritualization that goes on. It's a big part of seeing the gathering every week, every 170th episode. And it's venturing into other things as well. Perhaps it is readings and classes that deal with the same sort of topic of spirit. And it can be a little difficult to navigate at times. We're human, of course. And again, keeping in the back of my mind, while I'm thinking of this, I want to expand who I am. I want to expand my love. I want to expand my heart to understand more, to understand people more, to appreciate them more. So I'm going to do a quote within a quote. There's an American clergyman called Charles Parkhurst, and he was the late 1800s, early 1900s. And he says, home interprets heaven. Home is heaven for beginners. So I thought that was pretty cool. Because if I think of home, we're relaxed, we're in joy, we love to have people around. It's like a little bit of heaven that we have here on earth. It gives us a little break from the outside world. And if it's heaven for beginners, then holy mackerel, what have we got to look forward to? So if our home, our domicile, the place that we've created is so comfortable, imagine where we have that we can go into heaven. And what is that home, when we all go home, going to be like? And so as I cast my mind there and spiritualization and some of the new things I am learning and finding out about others and myself and the souls of others and being able to appreciate them, recognize them, be aware of them first, but actually appreciate what it is that makes them joyful, makes them stand out, makes them glow and be that light, that healing light that we've talked about. So working through that kind of new concept, it was new to me, and perhaps it's new to you too, but that newer concept, or at least deeper concept of who we are, how we fit into spirit. I go back to that verse again. Suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, and I still know where I'm going. I have my why. I have had my mind spun around in space, yet I've watched it growing. Should we believe the things that we see tell us? Should we try and stay? Should we run away? Or will it be better just to let things be? In other words, we're in the storm of this. When we're in the storm of that, do we run away from it? Do we face it? Do we stand still and just hope that things will sort itself around us? No, likely we move forward with it. We've had the teachings, we've had the learnings, we've had the enrichment from others in our search for our soul and camaraderie with other souls. We're expanding that heart, opening it up a bit more, expanding our home, expanding what it means to love someone else, to recognize the true value of someone, to wait and hold and to listen to them. And under this banner of spirituality and who we want to be and who we could possibly be in order to reach that home that maybe is on the other side, and maybe we can bring some of that little bit of heaven to our own home. And again, that home being inside as well. If we can bring that inside of us, what an amazing thing that would be. And to finish the song, living here in this brand new world might be a fantasy, but it's taught me to love. So it's real. It's real to me. And I've learned that we must look inside our hearts, says the song, to find a world full of love, like yours, like mine, and like home. Thank you very much.
Tim, thank you so much. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hit your raise hand button, it's just like a round of applause for Tim. Tim, it was so meaningful and so wonderful. Wow, is all I can say. It really hit home. Yeah, see all those raise hand buttons up. That was just extraordinary. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to move into our demonstration of mediumship. We have the beautiful Shirley Ann Sharp, bright and early, waking up just for us early morning, and she's in New Zealand. Doesn't matter where she is, doesn't matter where you are. Our loved ones can easily be right by our side and then plant messages and images and thoughts and feelings within Shirley Ann's mind, even if it's on the other side of the globe. It's pretty special how they do that. If this is your first time here or you've been here before, I just want to review what happens during our demonstration of mediumship. Shirley Ann is a well-trained, long-time medium who's always taking courses to just be the best she can be. Tim as well. And the spirit world knows exactly who's in our Sunday gathering today. You know, you may think you're just alone out for a walk or wherever you are. Oh, but not true. You know exactly, and the spirit world knows exactly who's here today. Just as you know, Darren, Shirley Ann, Tim, and I work on behalf of 100 and some people here that are in our Zoom room right now. There will be a handful of representatives that come through and working with Shirley Ann, delivering messages, and they are on behalf of all of our loved ones. There could be tens of thousands of loved ones gathered right now on behalf of our Sunday gathering, knowing that their family members and friends are right here. So we ask you to pay close attention to the information that comes forward. Shirley Ann will start by, someone from the spirit world will connect with her using her thoughts, her feelings, her imagination, her memories. She will give a few initial bits of information about that person. If you can understand all those bits of information about a person that no longer walks this earth, but was in your life, could be a friend, it could be a family member, could be somebody a little distant. But if you can understand all that information, we want you to press your raise hand button. And I know you just gave Tim a standing ovation pressing your raise hand button, but if you feel like pressing it again, just if you're not certain how that works, go ahead and do it. You'll see it goes from raise hand to lower hand. Why this is important is sometimes we get several people that can understand all the information. So Shirley Ann will continue to work so that we're down to one person. So if you are caught in a group that can all understand the information, as soon as she says something that you don't understand, you want to lower your hand. Eventually, we are going to get down to one person, and that person will work with Shirley Ann. I always think it's a good idea for all of us to listen to the evidence and to the messages, because they have a sneaky way of giving information that you think, oh, I could use a little bit of that myself. I'm sure they have that planned that way. When you do work with Shirley Ann, we ask you only give her one of 3 different responses. Let her do the work. Let her bring forth the evidence that she is talking to a person in the spirit world. So all we need you to do is say yes, no, or I don't know. Don't feel bad if you need to give a no. No simply means a new opportunity. She'll look inside and get the information right. We ask this because so many times it's easy to work with a medium and you want to share all about your loved one. But we want everybody leaving here today knowing that our loved ones really do communicate with us, that the recipient didn't give all this information, and you're not left questioning, is the afterlife real? It is extremely real. We have all given our lives, we truly have, not to only make sure you know it's real, but also to help you through grief, help you have a powerful life. That's why we're here, just to know how close love is. We always like to play a feel-good piece of music before we start. This song is a new one to me, but you often hear me say, when we hear the music, imagine your loved ones in the space around you. And sometimes I always imagine us all dancing because, singing, dancing, that's what we do. But feeling good, feeling their love. So I believe the song is called Dance With Me Tonight. Yeah, why not? Why not? But just sit back, relax, feel that love, create that love, like Tim said. It's a beautiful thing. Whether you are in your physical house or not, you are surrounded by love right now, and you are home. So here is our song, and then we will be back with Shirley Ann. That was fun. Ollie Mears just found out he was an X Factor winner in London. Very nice. Shirley Ann, you'll dance with me, not tonight, but right now.
Oh, Sandra, thank you again for inviting me on. And this team has been amazing this morning. I've so enjoyed us all getting together and what has been presented. It's been amazing. But as I move my awareness, I feel as though I have Dad here, and I feel as though the person I'm looking for would have memories of or knowledge of Dad having a very strong interest in motorbikes. So Dad and motorbikes. Can we throw that out there, Sandra?
Absolutely. Motorbikes, also known as motorcycles, right? Yes. All right. Dad, a very strong interest in motorbikes, motorcycles. If you can understand that information, raise your hand. So far, we have 2 lovely ladies with their hands raised.
Okay, thank you, ladies. I do appreciate you accepting that information. But I feel with Dad, you would know that you were also involved with because I feel like you would have been in his workshop. I feel as though you would have seen him fixing bikes.
Okay, Heather and Sandra, can you both take that information? Both have your hand raised, yes.
I also feel that he would have taught you to ride motorbikes, and I actually feel at quite a young age.
Okay, we have 1 hand remaining. No, we don't. Both hands went down. Thank you, ladies, for listening in. You lost someone teaching them how to ride.
Would either of you ladies understand being taught to ride motorbikes by Dad?
No.
Okay, then I feel as though that Dad would have taught family members to ride motorbikes. Can either of you take that? Because he was definitely teaching other people within the family to ride motorbikes.
Now, Sandra, you had your hand raised. You just put it down. Can you understand that information? I don't know if we have her voice. Heather, are you there?
No. Yep,
No,
I'm here.
that's a no to Sandra. Heather, can you understand that information?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Heather. And you would have, I feel as though you would have watched Dad doing this with your other sibling.
Yes.
So you would have gone out, I feel, as they were, and I even feel there would have been trail riding as well, like within the forests, within the, that dirt bike riding as well.
No.
Okay. So it was more racing, because I feel like Dad actually raced.
No, not me then. He didn't
Okay.
race.
Okay, Sandra, can we just throw that out there again? Dad
Absolutely.
motorbikes, and I feel like he would have taught siblings to ride motorbikes. I actually do feel motocross, but it could have also been motorbike riding as well. Okay.
Sandra's got her hand raised. Oh, it went back down. Sandra, you went up, you went down.
Okay, I definitely feel this gentleman here. So I will take out the relationship. Somebody that you would have known to ride motorbikes and taught you to ride motorbikes.
Thank you. Does not have to be father.
Still in that motorbike realm.
Yeah, no one's taking the information.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Dad, and knowing that Dad had a very strong interest in motorbikes.
Okay, we had Heather and Sandra that could take that initial bit of information.
Okay, Heather, I will come back to you, lovey. You were aware that Dad taught others in the family to ride motorbikes.
Yes.
Okay, and you're also aware that Dad could fix motorbikes. He could tinker.
Yes.
Alrighty. Now, particularly the young person that was taught to ride a motorbike, I feel like he would be in the workshop with Dad also a lot.
Yes. Yes.
And I feel like you would actually go in and sit with them.
No.
Okay. If you didn't go in and sit with them, you knew where they were, and you would have poked your head in occasionally.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And I know that Dad, you know, I feel such a gentleman here and a quietness with your dad.
Yes.
I do feel as though that Dad, he did have his own internal struggles, because I do feel as though he wasn't a huge communicator with strangers. Can you understand that?
Yes.
Yes, but within the home, a home was everything to Dad.
Yes.
And particularly you kids, because I feel like with all of you, you had his support and backing, and it didn't actually matter what you did, you still had his support and backing.
Yes.
And I feel, as far as the discipline side of things, you would know that he actually had trouble administering any sort of discipline.
Yes.
Because he really, I feel this gentleman, he loved watching young minds evolve. And that would be
That I don't know.
Okay, so I want to go back to Dad's workshop. Dad did more than just motorbikes in here.
Yes.
And I feel as though he had a lot of different tools within his workshop that he knew for lots of different things, because I actually feel like Dad could build things as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
And, you know, he was very precise with what he did.
Yes.
And I know with Dad, when he did something, there was no items left over that didn't have a space. They were all, everything went together. And I know at the end of each project, the tools were put away. They were cleaned also.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Actually, Heather, can you understand a incident where some tools actually went missing?
Yes.
Okay, he's just making me aware of that, because I feel as though he knew where they went, or who actually took them.
Yes.
And it really, you would know that this would have really disappointed him.
Yes.
Yes, he's making me aware of that, because I'm going to say his workshop was his home.
Yes, it was.
I can feel Mum would stand there really puzzled about this. She just, but that was your dad. They had a loving relationship, and she just loved the bones off him. So again, with mum, it kind of didn't matter what dad did. You can understand
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Certainly, I feel as though dad is here with us because I feel he knows you still miss him, and that's natural, but he was such a major part of your life at just about every stage of your life. Can you understand that?
I can't really take that. I don't
Okay.
know. It didn't seem like it, but he was always there.
He was always there. Perhaps in
Always
his,
there.
he was being very much part of it. But I feel as though he's so proud of what you're doing at the moment. Can you understand that? It's like you're breaking new ground at the moment.
Yes.
Okay. And I feel this pride with this gentleman. I feel that you've had to muster all your courage and just creativeness and make a decision and move with that decision.
Yes.
Okay. So I feel as though he's just wanting to pass on his love, his support, and I really feel like I just want to reach out and just hold your, I want to say little face in my hands. So he always thinks of you as this little girl.
Yes.
I just want to hold that little face. So I want to leave his love with you, Heather. So much love. You do have a lot of other relatives in the spirit world that I feel like that are gathering now, and they're sort of just looking in and seeing what's happening. And I know that your dad has been very curious of this world that you have been curious about. So he's curious of your curiosity. Can you understand?
Yes.
Because I do not believe this belief was in his realm of thought when he was with you.
Yes.
I do believe at the end of his life, he definitely started to consider the possibility of definitely another way of living. But I feel as though as you were growing up, he was just so absorbed in you children. So I want to leave you with his love and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you, Heather, for that. Okay. Now I do feel as though I have a lady here, and I feel that this lady is a gentleman's wife, and I feel the gentleman is here. And I also feel that when she passed, there was this, the gentleman here would have a memory of just sitting and holding her hand. It was a very, very close, intimate moment. He was present with his wife when she passed. Can I throw that out, please, Sandra?
Absolutely. Okay, this goes to our gentleman here whose wife is in the spirit world, and you would remember holding her hand as she passed. Okay, we have Pete here.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
Pete. Hello.
Oh, yeah. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Pete, I know this is a very a tender subject. I'm trying to find my words here, but you would know this moment I'm speaking about.
Yes.
And I do feel as though your lovely wife passed way before you would have expected her to.
No.
In the terms of years.
In the terms of years, possibly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do feel this was an illness. I do feel this illness progressed quite smartly. It marched forward.
It did in the end, yes.
Yes. And I feel as though, Pete, when your wife passed, I know there was a lot of exchange of conversations, but it was almost like you sat back and said, I could have said more.
I think you can always say more. I think I thought I said enough. I never felt like that, I must admit.
Okay. I just feel that feeling here with it. So I will deliver that to you. But I do feel as though you actually nursed her
Yes,
for a lot of that time. And that nursing encompassed not only the medical side, but the very personal details to do with your wife.
yes,
And there's also a feeling here that she's giving me that you had special towels and special linen for her.
yes,
You'd really tried to give her as much comfort as you possibly could.
yes,
And I'm also being made aware here, you actually got a type of, I can only term it as hospital bed, but a type of bed that was really, really comfortable, and it went up and down and all over the place.
yes.
And I know that was, I feel that was quite an expense.
It was at the time, yes.
So it was quite it wasn't a decision, it was a definite yes, but it was another showing of you pulling out all the stops to make sure that your lovely lady had as much as you could provide.
That's right, yes.
And you would know that she commented on you, because I feel you always looked at her as if she was that day that you got married.
Yes,
And I feel she was aware of this lovely vision that you had of her.
I can't say.
Well, I feel as though you made her aware of that, because it's like in your eyes, I'm always 18, for example.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Which was just lovely. Now, I also feel as though there were family members that didn't quite get there. Can you understand that?
Yes,
But I do feel some goodbyes had been said, but there were ones that would have wanted to be present, but for circumstances, they just couldn't get there.
that's right.
Those people, I feel, now they would have been close family members, correct?
Yes,
Because I feel like there's a regret, and am I correct in saying that you have a daughter, sir?
daughter-in-law.
A daughter-in-law, okay. Because I feel as though she was very close to your wife as well.
Yes,
Okay. And I feel as though she was a big part of support for you and your wife.
probably from my wife. I think,
Okay.
she wasn't close and she didn't live in the same area, so.
But I
she was
do
a long
feel
time.
there would have been a lot of telephone conversations if she wasn't close enough to be there constantly, because I do know that she actually did come and see your wife.
That's right. Yes, she did.
And I feel that support there, because I know that your wife, before she passed, had some very, very low emotional times, and I know that you sat with her even if it was in silence.
Yes,
But that particular moment that she come in with, that beautiful, beautiful moment of you just holding her hand and allowing that time to come in and move, and you held back your grief until your lovely lady had transitioned, and then you allowed your own feelings to come front and center.
yes,
And there's just such gratitude there for that, because I do feel this lady was really struggling to leave her family, as anyone would that's transitioning, but she just knew the sorrow, that, because she left such a big hole.
she did.
Yes. I also know that this lady, she had a very, very kind nature, and I do feel as though there's several people around you that she helped to quite a deep extent, actually.
There was at the time. Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like this lady had, I want to say, the ears of the heaven, because she would sit and listen to others' problems, and it would almost help her put her own aside.
Yes, I would think so. I
Yeah.
can't give you a definite on that.
And she's also making me aware here that you were present at some of the medical tests and examinations that she went through.
Yes.
And I'm also being made aware of not some, all.
Yes.
You were very much front and center with that information. And I feel as though some of those examinations were not pleasant, but you stayed with her, holding her hand through the whole thing.
Where I could, where I was allowed to, yes.
Yes. And it's just a huge gratitude there, apart from the, and I want to say utter love that the two of you shared. And I know that you still have photos of her up, and there's several of them around the house.
Yes.
And there's certain things around the house that you've thought to yourself, when is a good time to let go? And then you've said to yourself, no, I just don't want to. I'm not ready.
Yes, there's still some items like that here. Yes.
Yeah. And Sir, you know, she's part of you and you're part of her. And if those things stay there for all of eternity, it doesn't hurt anyone.
Oh, that's all right.
I'd just like to leave you with her love and her utter gratitude for being there totally.
Yeah, okay, that's lovely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Pete. And thank you, Shirley, and to your lovely bride as well.
Okay, now as I move my awareness again to the spirit world, or allow it to stay there, of course, I feel like I have quite a humorous character with me, and I feel as though he actually only had one leg. But he's very humorous. He's laughing about it, struggling along towards me with this one leg. So, gosh, can I throw that out, please, Sandra?
Absolutely. Who can understand a gentleman in the spirit world who only had one leg?
Thank you.
Elizabeth, you have your hand raised. If you can press your unmute button. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
And Elizabeth, you would understand this gentleman in the spirit world with one leg.
I do.
And you would understand this gentleman to have quite a sense of humor.
Yes.
It's almost like, okay, this is my lot. I'm going to make the best of it. That was his attitude.
Well, I don't know about that. He was devastated, but he had a good sense of humor, though. I don't know.
Yes, because I feel he was devastated because of the fact that this was accidental. Can you understand that?
Yes.
And I feel as though when this amputation had to happen, there actually was a period where this man withdrew quite a bit and actually became quite depressed.
Yes.
And you would have known this man to actually, gosh, I feel like he stepped back in the way he looked, his hygiene, the way he kept himself.
Yes.
And until he could come forward and, you know, okay, this is as it is. I'm going to try and make the best of it.
Yes.
Thank you for that. But this gentleman, I feel like, you know, I honestly feel he's so brave. You would understand bravery with this gentleman.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I feel as though he would front up to, after he got through the period of accepting that he had his leg amputated, and I even want to go as far as say that was at least 6 months to a year that this gentleman spent in that in that time in that time with his mind. Can you understand that?
Yes, I can.
And then he started to front up to people that he had known, of course, when he had 2 legs, when he felt more whole, he realized that people didn't think any less of him.
Yes.
And then he started to come back to his fullness again. But I do feel as though you would understand that this gentleman helped you out of a situation, or with the situation, I should say.
He probably did. I'm just trying to think.
Because I feel like that would have been his nature. If he could help somebody, he would have given them the shirt off his back, so to speak.
Yes.
It was all about the humanness of people, not what they could give him or he could get away with or anything like that. It was all about the person.
Yes, I think so. Mhm.
But I don't feel this gentleman had a huge amount of money or anything like that to actually help people with. But if he could, they would have everything that he had.
Oh, yes. Mhm.
Now I feel as though too, Elizabeth, you knew this gentleman quite well.
Yes, I did.
And this gentleman was actually within your family.
He was, yes.
Okay. Elizabeth, this was your dad.
Not my father, but
But he was as close to you, I feel.
yeah,
It's okay. You don't need to relay the relationship, because I feel closeness for you. I feel a bond of love between the both of you.
yes.
Thank you for that. And he's showing me that you and he had a lot of, you've got a lot of memories together, and you've also got photos of him.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Gosh, Elizabeth, and I feel like in that period where he was struggling to come to terms with what had happened physically with him, you helped him and even I want to say nursed him some of that time.
We tried to, yes.
Yes. But I feel as though you were very patient with him.
Yes.
And that's where I feel this gratitude of the patience you had for him, because he didn't have patience for himself.
Oh,
And I feel like this gentleman, you would know he would have found it difficult to sort of show love.
yes.
He wasn't as open with his feelings that he could be, but you were.
Yes.
With nothing for you to go up and give him a hug and say things will be okay, we're working with you, all those sorts of things. You would also know that he went through a lot of rehab.
Yes.
And that was very, very hard on his body, the aches. And if I'm correct with this, I feel as though, Elizabeth, you would have known him to have had body massage.
I don't remember that. I'm not sure.
Just feeling that was part of the rehab because it was so strong on his body. But I want to just pass on the love and the gratitude with him. Actually, Elizabeth, did you help him with his hygiene as well?
I don't know if I can take the hygiene part.
I feel as though there was someone that actually helped him shave, it started to get him back to where he was.
Oh, yes. We hope to. Yes.
Well, there's just a lot of gratitude for the attention and the patience that you all had with this gentleman.
Oh, thank you.
With his love and his remembrance, because I feel like he often comes up in your memory And I want to say to you, you are very much in his memory as well. And I want to say, and your family.
Yes, he's in my family.
Okay, thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Shirley Ann.
Okay. Now, Sandra, as I move my awareness again, I feel as though I have a gentleman who would have flown. I feel as though he's making me aware of small planes at this point that he's showing me small planes. And I actually feel as though it would have been Dad. I know it's somebody in the family. I'll say Dad at this point. He would have flown small planes.
Thank you. Betty can take it. I can actually take that as well. And
Okay.
Jim and Sue. Oh, we got lots of pilots in the house. Jeanette,
Yeah.
quite a few with Dad flying small planes.
Okay, and you would have known Dad to be a really adventurous type of person. All hands.
All hands are still up.
Okay, and I do feel as though he would have flown a plane into an area, crikey, that would have been, I want to say tropical or subtropical. It's away from home. He's gone into this area. Oh, I can't quite get my head around the area. Can anybody understand that at this point?
So he flew the small plane into a rather tropical area.
Subtropical area. I also feel as though when he flew that plane in, there would have been parachuters dropped from that plane.
Aha, okay. We have everybody with Angela. Angela is remaining. Hello, Angela.
Yes.
Hi.
You can take that.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, Angela. And you can accept that Dad was a really adventurous type of guy.
It was my granddad, and he was a very adventurous person. Yes, that's how most people would have described him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He would have flown into areas that other pilots would not have gone.
Yes. And the tropical area, subtropical, actually, yes, he was flying there, and my grandmother was parachuting, so that's why I thought it might be me.
Okay. And you would know that in that area, though, there would have also been, I feel like there would have been rocky mountains, there would have been rocky crevices that he would have gone through and around, quite low to the ground.
Obviously, I was not born then, but there are mountains in this subtropical area, yes.
But you would have heard the stories.
I would have heard the stories that he was very adventurous, but I was very small and I wouldn't know exactly sort of the details of those stories.
Angela, you would know that he actually owned his own plane.
I wouldn't know that, no. Actually, I wouldn't know what to answer. Yes or no, I don't know.
Okay. Thank you, Angela. Can I just throw this out again, Sandra? It's feeling quite right. I want to go back to Dad, planes, and I would have flown into tropical or subtropical areas or really unusual areas. This man took risks, but he was very, very skilled at what he did.
Okay, thank you very much. Our friends who had their hands up before who could take the information. All right, we have Sue with her hand raised, and Angela, you just keep listening in. Sue, if you would press your unmute button. Hi, Sue.
Hi.
Hi.
So can you understand this with Dad?
Yes.
Okay, and so if you can understand this with Dad, would you also understand that he would have undertaken rescue, like search and rescue, I want to say missions, but adventures in this man's case?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Can you understand people parachuting from his plane?
No, not that at all. Sorry.
Can you understand that he would have known how to parachute?
Not that I'm aware it's possible.
Okay. All right. So I'll just leave that because I feel as though, as you say, you're not aware of that. Would you understand that Dad would have flown into areas that other pilots wouldn't have because he was so skilled?
Yes.
Okay. And I also feel with Dad, you also have pictures of him with a plane.
Yes.
And it was much, much more than a hobby. He was really absorbed into this.
Yes.
And I also feel that because I do feel this search and rescue thing. Okay. You would be aware, though, Sue, of an incident that happened with a plane, where a plane actually went down. I'm not saying it's your dad's, but you would be aware of one that your dad knew of.
Yes.
And I feel as though that actually made the news.
Yes.
Yes. And I do feel as though people passed on that plane that Dad knew.
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge. Okay. But I feel as though I feel as though that Dad knew people that were on that plane.
It's possible.
Okay.
It's very possible. It would have been, I was young, so it's possible that happened. I'm not aware of it.
Now, I also feel with Dad, you have that adventurous nature.
Yes.
And I feel as though that you are not a person that will shy away from a challenge, as Dad
True.
was.
That is
and
true.
because I can feel this bond with you and Dad. Like you would just look into his eyes and he would look into your eyes, and it's like you both would melt. You understand that?
Yes.
And you were ever so proud of how he carried himself through life.
Yes.
Because again, Dad met challenges and he always kept his morals and his values to the height of any decisions that he made.
Yes.
That was the first and foremost with Dad. Even if he knew he was in the wrong, he would admit it because it jogged alongside his morals and his values.
Yes.
You can understand that. But I do feel Dad, through your life, guided you with the best advice.
Yes.
And because I feel as though he would advise you on financial things, on decisions that you've made with careers and study. Can you understand that?
Partly, yes.
I have this solid support behind you with Dad. I feel this very solid. If something went wrong, you know that you had Dad that you could rely on.
Yes, very much.
And that's, that contributes to you have been so brave in your life, because I feel like you've made decisions in your life knowing that you've had Dad there and it's helped you through.
Yes.
Lovey, I want to send you all his love. And I feel also that when Dad passed, that you were very much part of his care and that time when he passed.
No.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
Well, you do know of the people within the family that were very much part of his care.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And even though you weren't there 24/7, you were certainly there in spirit.
Yes.
With Dad. I know that you still miss him. I know that you think of him a lot. And I know that you call out for his support a lot. You can understand that.
Yes.
And particularly at the moment, I feel his support is, you've really wanted his support around you.
Yes.
but he's always there. He's always there. And I want to say to you, I want to say, so are your uncles. They're all there with you. They're all there with him. Can you understand that?
I can, yes.
Yes. Lovey, I'll just leave you with his love and his, I want to say admiration, because some of the things that you've had to decide and move through since his passing, he knows has been very challenging.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'll leave his love with you, sweetheart. I can
Thank
feel
you.
your touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sue. And Shirley Ann, thank you so much for volunteering your time to be our medium today. I think I can speak for everybody. You are just so at home with who you are and can have that love. I think, can we all feel it? Can we give Shirley Ann a raise hand button for just being here? Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And for all of us, I think we could feel how close our loved ones are. They are here, and there is nothing worse than experiencing grief and having our loved ones not be able to walk with us, hug us, all of that, and to trust that they do go on. I know it's tough to trust that, but if you can consider we are living in this ever expanding universe, right? Billions and billions of planets out there and stars like our sun, and then also down to a quantum level, all we are is vibrating energy. It's a very real illusion that life on earth is all there is, right? But I do, with all my heart, as I join with my friends here, believe and know that we live on, that our loved ones, it's like they've taken a trip before us and we're going to meet them there. And until then, they can see us, they can interact with us, they can feel our love. They need us to have some quiet time so that they can plant their memories and pictures and thoughts. And that's why sometimes they try to come in through our dreams when our mind is quiet. I just want to let you know some things that are going on that might make a difference. Tuesday, our friends Kath and Mitch Shirley are back for a free, they call it a grief cafe. They are advanced grief recovery specialists, and it's just a free time to learn about grief. This is not recorded. It's a very private space. And if you're interested, join them. Everything I'm going to mention is at the store page at wedon'tdie.com. Also on Tuesdays, our friend Scott Milligan does 2 Sitting for the Power Hours, a beautiful time with yourself and your own soul, just to quiet the mind. Thursday, we are back for our last progressive student demonstration, medium demonstration. Well, our friends Tim and Shirley Ann will both be demonstrating, as well as our friends Carly, Craig, and Nina. Anybody who's been with us on the past Thursdays, starting the same time we started today, know just how much fun and how special these medium demonstrations are. Your loved ones are coming through just with so much happiness and joy. They're just crazy good. You don't want to miss it. Also coming up on Friday, our friend Scott Milligan sits with In the Arms of Eternity. We first start off with Sitting for Healing, followed by a demonstration of trance mediumship with a question and answer period. They are extraordinary. One of my most favorite times of the week. On Saturday, if you are a fan of Scott and myself, we're doing a 5-hour workshop called Trance in the Altered States. It's a very intensive thing with your eyes closed and learning to quiet that mind. But that mind is where our loved ones are able to come through. But unfortunately, so often our busy minds are chat, 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 chat. Of course, next week on Sunday, Carrie and Phil will be back with us on our Sunday gathering. Also starting next week is many of our medium classes. On Wednesday, if you're interested in mediumship or you just want to get a little feeling for how your soul works and communicates, it'll be our level 1 mediumship class. To our students that have taken that class before and are practiced in it, of course, on Thursday is our level 2 mediumship class. And the following week on Tuesdays, for all of our students, whether you're in level 1 or level 2, we highly recommend you add on the Tuesdays because it is a practice and mentoring session. So it's different from what we've done on Tuesdays in the past. There is a lot of practice and a lot of feedback with Carrie and Phil. That's it for what's coming up. like I said, everything can be found at wedon'tdie.com, and just click on the store page. You can see it all. And just a couple of brief words from me before I turn it over to Darren for our closing prayer. Life can be very uneasy, right? And I know there's some of us who may have two homes. So you didn't expect you're caring for someone and you got another home somewhere else, or you may be not sure, where you're going or what's happening. And you might have that feeling of unease, right? Is this my home? Is this where I'm meant to be? What's going to happen in the future? We human beings have a real tendency to beat ourselves up about the past and worry about the future. That's just what we do. We can't escape it. That's what human beings do. I just want to offer us all something. Home is wherever you are right now. You have so much love that carries with you wherever you go. I know we think of homes as a place, and I do hope everyone has safety and has a place to rest your head at night. But if you could only see the loved ones that are around you, wherever you go, home is there. Also, what I know is however old you are right now, you have made it through some really tough times. You have everything in your capacity to handle anything that comes your way. So all I want to do is offer to you to be okay with the unknown. Miracles can happen in the unknown. And also to trust, really trust that you are where you need to be. Keep following your passions. Do that. Keep putting a smile on your face. Keep doing the best you can. But trust. Try to stay present and know that your future self will know just how to handle things. And you are at home and you are with us. And we will continue to be here every Sunday. So I'd like to turn it over to Darren for our closing prayer, please.
Thank you for those lovely words, Sandra, and thank you each and every one of you for being here week in and week out. And as always, it's been a joy and a privilege to work with Sandra, Tim, and Shirley Ann once again. So if you'd all like to close your eyes and join me for the closing prayer. To our friends, brothers and sisters from within our land, we thank you for being here with us today and uniting under that banner of We Don't Die, and each and every one of you for playing your part and allowing us all to immerse ourselves in the joy and the love of uniting the two worlds together as one. To our dear friends, helpers and loved ones of that world we call unseen, we'd like to express our sincere thanks and gratitude for being here not only this Sunday, but each and every Sunday, and allowing these Sunday gatherings to take place, and having the faith and the trust in us to be part of this wonderful experience, and allowing us all to experience the joy, the happiness and upliftment we get from these Sunday gatherings, allowing us to leave here in a better place. We'd like to thank you for allowing us to experience and immerse ourselves within that healing balm and that unconditional love that will live on within our hearts and our minds forever. Each and every one of us deems it a joy and a privilege to walk hand in hand, side by side with your world. And we do this to the best of our abilities and understandings. And we truly hope we've brought a big smile to your face in doing so. As we leave this Sunday gathering here today, we continue down our own journeys of life and continue to create our own pathways to create our own beautiful homes filled with love, laughter, joy and compassion for all those who choose to enter. And we can do this in the comfort and knowledge to know that you continually walk by our side, guiding us and inspiring us to truly be the best human beings we can be for the good of all mankind. And we thank you for allowing us to continue with our own knowing and understanding that love and life are both eternal. So as we leave, we ask once again that healing light continues to shine to all four corners of our world, bringing the joy, the healing, the love and the happiness to all those hearts and minds that may be in need in today's world. And until we meet again, my friends, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Amen.
Thank you very much, Darren. And again, thank you to you and to Shirley Ann and to Tim and to you at home. Those of you who have donated, thank you so much for making our Sunday gathering possible, and to our friends in the spirit world. Tim, I didn't know about the song from The Wiz, so that is not our closing song. However, we do have a song by Mariah Carey from the film Oz. So we go along with the same theme. We have read all your messages in the chat box. Keep them coming. We couldn't get back to all of you, but thank you so much for being here today. Here's our closing song. We will most definitely see you next Sunday. We love you. You are at home. Mwah. See you next Sunday. Bye, everyone.